Hey, I'm Candace, your host, and if you're ready to grow your business and build your authority by getting booked on podcasts, I've got something special for you. I'm launching a brand new course that will walk you through exactly how to get booked on podcasts. Everything from identifying the right shows to pitching, preparing for interviews, and leveraging your guest appearances for growth. Plus, if you sign up for the waitlist now, you'll get early access to the course and these special bonuses. When you officially enroll in the course, you'll save $50 and get a free one-on-one strategy call with me to help you prep your speaking points and align your offers. These bonuses are limited and end on April 13th, so make sure to sign up today. Head to the link in the show notes to join and get started on your podcast guesting journey. I can't wait to help you get booked and start sharing your message with the world. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back. I have a special guest on. I used to be Kristin's high school basketball and softball coach, and I'm so pumped to get to have her on the show sharing her story into entrepreneurship. Kristin is an Equine Gestalt Practitioner. She has a deep passion for guiding individuals to tap into their inner strength and heal from the hidden impacts of trauma. Having experienced the profound impact of Equine Gestalt work personally, she founded Wildfire Soul Revival to support others in uncovering and releasing the hidden effects of trauma. Through one-on-one equine sessions, group sessions, virtual sessions, and workshops, clients are guided in a safe, non-judgmental space where they can connect with their own inner strength and resilience. All right, in this episode, we talk about Kristin's entrepreneurial experience, her mindset, and all the things that go into building and starting a business from the ground up. Let's dive in. All right. Well, welcome, Kristin. You'll have to refresh my memory a little bit. I know I didn't have you as a student, but I'm pretty sure at some point in your high school career, I was a coach for one of your sports teams somewhere in there. But go ahead and introduce yourself quick and just let us know also, how did you get into entrepreneurship? What did that look like?
So yes, you were my basketball coach actually for a couple years.
I thought
that was great. Yes. So my journey into entrepreneurship, I feel, is a little maybe different than the typical. Mine actually started because I went on a journey of healing within the Equine Gestalt work. So it's a 2-year program that I went through. Touched by a Horse is the program. Within that, I uncovered a lot of deep-seated trauma and went through a whole healing journey, discovering my own strength, all the different things that come along with healing. And part of the program itself actually can help build a business. I didn't think at first that was not my route. I was going to go for myself, all the healing in that aspect. And as I went through, I discovered that I wanted to share it. That's how I founded Wildfire Soul Revival, and I am an Equine Gestalt Practitioner.
Amazing. Tell me, did you leave high school, go to college, and think you were going to go into like a regular, let's call it a 9-to-5 job, or was this right after high school?
Right after high school, I went to SDSU in Brookings in South Dakota. I went pre-med actually. So that was my plan, to do 4 years undergrad and then do med school and then go on. And I wanted to be a forensic pathologist,
Amazing.
Which is about 15 years of school.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, not anywhere near what I thought was going to happen. So I have a bachelor's in psychology. And then after a couple of years, I actually had a traumatic accident, which I feel kind of shifted all of my life journey and all those things. And then I got into this program and I'm here now.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that so interesting when you start something for yourself? Because on a different scale than yours, but I took a meditation coaching certification class, but it was really just because I knew like my anxiety and different things were just really peaking and I needed something and I needed meditation and I felt drawn to it. And then as you walk that path, it ends up opening different doors for you. That's so amazing. How would you give advice to someone who is kind of walking down this path, seeing these doors open? I like to call them nudges, like having different nudges to follow, but we can't always follow every single nudge. What advice do you have about deciding which ones to go with? What was it for you that you were able to be like, yep, we're changing course and this is what needs to happen?
Listening to those nudges is fairly new to me. I often have found myself before the program, before going through the healing journey, a lot of the times I would seek external validation. And is this okay with you? Or what's your opinion on this? You're either a mentor or somebody in my life that I'll just go with your answer. Now I feel that those nudges are almost the gut instinct, the intuition, you could call it, truly feeling into it, not thinking into it, if that makes sense.
It does.
I would say that's how those nudges or going the next path, even if it's maybe not on the path I thought it was going to be. That's kind of the feeling aspect around it.
I couldn't agree more with that. I feel like the world or just life or school, whatever, the systems of life beat that out of us, and we forget to, and sometimes don't even know how to listen to those nudges, that intuition, that gut feeling, but we all have it. It takes a little bit of getting quiet though, and pausing maybe to be able to hear it. How long has your business been open? And tell me a little bit about what it looks like and clients of yours, if we came to you, what happens?
My LLC was opened in August of 2024, so not very long. So a typical session, if you were to come to me and come out to the farm, it's an hour and a half if you did an individual session, and you can work with the horses or without. So it kind of depends on the client's preference. The horse is there as another gestaltist, essentially. They're innate in nature to have intuition. They have energy healing, all the things. It kind of depends on the client. So each individual session is individualized to the client.
Having that startup, all those details and those little things fresh, somewhat fresh, what do you wish people would know, or what advice do you have for people that are in that season of life?
It can get really overwhelming with how much is out there and how much is available and the shoulds. Well, should I be on social media? Should I be doing all these things, automating, whether it's email, whether it's calendar things? Choosing all that can be very overwhelming, not even knowing where to start. And I feel some of the podcasts that I've heard from you say that too, reaching out and knowing that there's resources, whether it's you, whether it's another coach, whether it's me, there's resources out there to help that first part. So you don't get to the point of, this is so overwhelming, I'm just not going to do it.
For sure. Google land is wonderful, but also such a crutch sometimes, because you're right, it's never ending. There's endless amounts of things to search. All of those decisions in the beginning too, of, like you said, do you have an email list? Are you on social media? How are you going to book clients? Do you need to have a calendar program, like a website, an LLC? There are endless decisions. One thing that's helped me is just being able to break things down and say, okay, like maybe today we have to set up the LLC. What takes precedent? And trying to prioritize that list, because when it's all sitting in front of you, you're right. I've heard from so many people that they just don't even get off the ground and running. So kudos to you for literally figuring all that out, because it's a lot. There are so many people with so many great ideas for businesses and different things that it just never happens, because that piece can get overwhelming. And you're right too, hiring someone or even just DMing someone and asking them questions. I love to share knowledge for a quick question in the DMs. Like, you don't always have to pay for it either, but it is worth the investment. Anytime I have paid for a coach or different things, like the progress that you make is just 10x and so fast and can really push things along. Have you experienced that in investing in yourself in the business and seeing how that comes back to you? What's your experience with that?
So in the investment of time, money, those different things, I would say right now in this stage that I'm in, it's the time and the connections and all of that and putting in the effort. I am a high introvert. Finding that courage, because it truly does come before confidence. So finding the courage to reach out to different business owners in the community or different business owners in the state or another state, all those different things, that's the time investment that is going to come back and has come back tenfold for the business to build it.
Connections and community is so huge, especially for small businesses. I feel like it's much more effective word of mouth than even social media. I always am skeptical and wondering, like, is that a real person on the other side of that, But if someone like and trust says, hey, you have got to go to Kristin's farm and do a session, like, I'm in. I don't even need to check on anything, right? Being an introvert, I agree though, those types of things can feel exhausting. What advice do you have for starting those initial connections, building that community? Is it reaching out to people? Is it going to events? What have you done or what has worked for you?
I would say both. So either reaching out to people and and maybe volunteering at an event. So you're showing your face, you're showing that you're becoming involved in the community, or if you already are involved in the community, telling people about the business.
Yeah.
So not just sitting back and saying, yeah, I'm still this person, but truly telling them and getting excited. People often will draw to you when they feel your passion, when they feel that, and when you're truly passionate about something. So not being afraid to tell somebody about it.
For sure. You mentioned earlier about courage coming before confidence. I couldn't agree more. I think confidence comes later. We want it to be there first, but anyone I've talked to, that's never been the case. So how does somebody work on their mindset? It's such a mindset piece. How did you gain the confidence, and what advice do you have for people that need a little more confidence?
A big piece for me was the equine gestalt work. So in those sessions and in the training that I did, it is amazing the transformation that can happen out of one session, and truly shifting and then having the ability to continue to work on that mindset and being willing to be vulnerable essentially is huge. And that's, I would say, has shifted for me.
Working on yourself and that investment of going to a session, doing a therapy appointment, spending time for the sole purpose of bettering and working on you, that inner work. 100% agree. That definitely is going to affect your confidence for sure in the positive. I love systems. I kind of nerd out on behind the scenes. I think that's the introvert. I'd rather be behind the scenes. That's why I love podcasts. You can just hear my voice and I don't have to interact. Although I do love the connection though when you're with the right people. It's good. But what kind of systems do you use in your business that you can share with us?
I am a big to-do list and check off person. The big thing for me is to brain dump or make a list, a bigger list, and then break it down. And the smaller aspects and smaller pieces, whether I can get it done in 15 minutes, whether I can get it done in a half hour, I put those on a whiteboard. So when I have that time, I can then say, okay, quick, I can do this right now. I can check it off my list and erase it off the whiteboard. Love it.
Yes. Do you ever write something you've already done that you didn't put on the list so that you can erase it?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Same. The ping in my heart that comes from that is too good. All right. Tell me a little bit more about equine gestalt and taking that trauma and transforming it.
Absolutely. Equine gestalt itself is a very powerful therapeutic modality. It combines the gestalt techniques, which is a humanistic avenue, and it is then partnering with the horse, which they already are in tune to themselves. They already live in the present moment, and it creates a unique and transformative experience for all the clients. In the sessions, the horses are very involved. They often can pick up on different emotions that maybe a client is not aware of, and bringing it to the surface and bringing it to the client's awareness, which in turn connects to the trauma. Trauma right now, I feel it's a ping word. It can be very small. So trauma can be maybe something that somebody said to you or yelled at you, whether you were 5, whether you were 15, whether you were 45. So it all depends. Or it could be sexual trauma. I would say, quote unquote, bigger traumas. In that aspect, though, trauma is not created equally. Every person, it embeds trauma differently into every single person. So one person might have a trauma of an accident. Let's say they were in a car accident and they can walk away from it. They're okay. Maybe they get some PT and there's no psychological effect after. Another person could be in that same accident. They could develop PTSD. They could develop all those things that maybe are then in turn going to totally turn their life upside down. Connecting in the equine gestalt realm to the trauma, it allows for the memory to be there. So like my mentor, Melissa Pierce, she's the one that developed the program. She says that there's lightning strikes when trauma happens, and the equine gestalt method allows for that memory to still be there, whether it's an accident, whether it is sexual trauma, whether it is maybe a limiting belief that you have had from a mentor for a really long time. It then takes the sting from like the little zingers that happen when you have trauma and all the little things that happen. So whether it's a reminder of the trauma or somebody said something to you and it brings you back right to that memory, the sting and zinger is no longer there. The memory is there, which is huge in how we can process and go through the world, because it doesn't debilitate you within a session itself. It's so experiential in a sense of the transformation after the session. It allows for peace, groundedness, all those different things that when the trauma is still hooked, you maybe think you're in groundedness or you maybe think you're in that peace. But if something like a trigger happens and it pokes the bear, you react. Essentially allows for the reaction to no longer be there.
Okay, this is going to air in March. Are you booking sessions? How do people get in touch with you? Where can people find you if they're like, I want to experience this?
One plug I do want to put in is that you do not have to be in the same state as me. People that fly from all over to be immersed in the work and to do the work.
Okay.
It depends on the connection that you want with the Equine Gestalt Practitioner. You don't have to be local. You fly in and have a couple sessions with me. I can do an intensive weekend and do a couple sessions. And as of right now, within March, I am planning to do an open house in May. Come out, check it out, see the farm. I'll do a demo that day. We'll have some snacks, all the different things to talk about Equine Gestalt and Wildfire Soul Revival. One-on-one sessions, equine or non-equine, depending on what you're wanting. And I do virtual sessions as well. So if you're wanting to do one Equine Gestalt session and then an aftercare or a follow-up Zoom meeting, that is available. It kind of depends on each individual client and what they're wanting and what they're needing.
Amazing. Okay, so you have a website and Facebook. Can you tell us about those?
My website is wildfiresoulrevival.com. And then Facebook is Wildfire Soul Revival. The more the merrier. Share, like, all the things.
We'll link that in the show notes. And I know you have a free guide for us too to deepen our connection in nature. So just something to get us started. Tell us about that.
That is linked on my website as well. And you can put in your email address and you'll get a free guide.
Okay, I will link all the show notes. And thanks so much for being on. It was so fun chatting with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready for podcast mentoring, whether it's setup, editing, planning, or guesting, you can book a one-on-one call with me through the link in the show notes. I hope you feel seen, inspired, and like your dreams and goals are completely valid, because they are. See you next Tuesday.